Good morning. Today is November 17th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zorie and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hey, how are you?
Cold.
Oh.
It's 30 degrees here.
I think Jules is going to be joining us here in a second.
All right.
Yay! Jules?
I think she's there.
I think so.
But how cold is it there?
There's like about an inch of snow on the ground, and what'd you say it was there?
It's 30 degrees here.
Oh, we're 33.
Yeah.
We're 33. I'm 3 degrees warmer than you are in California.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Easy?
Wow. We're below freezing here. That doesn't happen in California.
Same here.
Hey, Jules. How are you?
Are you okay, Jules? That sounded like
Hey, good morning.
Oh, there you are. You're normal.
How are you?
Good.
How cold is it there?
Same as Wendy, 33.
33. You have
I'm
snow
colder
there?
than both New
Yeah,
York
it's
and
snowing.
Michigan. Wow.
I think it might be colder in Texas than you.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
It was, let me just see. I thought it was supposed to go down to the 20s last night down there. And
Wow.
they had snow as well in some areas.
Wow.
Jack said it's 9 degrees where he is.
Yeah, that's cold, Jax. I think you won. Yes, look it down. Southwest Texas is 25 right now.
Oh, my
Jeez.
goodness.
I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like Iowa, Jax, I would expect 9.
Yeah.
California and Texas, I wouldn't expect below freezing, that's for sure.
And we don't even get snow.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good right now. They actually were warning for 1 to 2 feet
Wow.
between now and tomorrow morning at 7. So,
What a
after the show, guys, I need to get in my car and go fill it up.
You're getting 1 to 2 feet?
Yeah, that's what it said on the news. Buffalo, they warned first. Then on the news last night, they're like, oh, that lake effect machine might be ramping up.
Oh.
Because the lakes are warm. And,
Yeah.
lake effect is dependent upon that just right jet stream when it hits those warm lakes and you have that frigid. I mean, this is like the perfect storm where you have the frigid. They used to call it just the Arctic blast. Now they're called polar vortices.
Yeah.
But we would get the Arctic blast out of Canada and, all the way from now until January when the lakes start to freeze, which, by the way, Lake Ontario is too deep to freeze, but Erie would freeze. But I don't know. We don't get well, maybe we do. I'm kind of out unless we get the polar vortices coming direct south. I don't get it too bad off of Ontario, but I get it off of Erie. If you can believe it, like it goes that far. I grew up, I got it off of Erie my entire childhood, and it still can reach me an entire city away.
There you go. 2 feet is reachable. Oh, my God.
Well, we'll see.
That would be fun, man.
I don't think we fired up the snow, what do you call it, for the driveway?
Snowblower.
Thank you. We haven't fired up the snowblower yet, so I hope it works.
I got a breaking news story that happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Remember the guy, the surgeon with Ebola that they sent to Nebraska?
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah, he died.
Died.
Yeah.
The one from, yesterday that arrived?
Yes, he's dead.
Yeah, he was in really bad shape.
Yeah.
But a lot of people had predicted that because, everything kind of died down. We had no Ebola news after the election. And then, we got to get it back into the news cycle.
Right.
So we're going to fly some new sick guy here.
And that's about what it is, too.
Yeah, and he's like on the edge of death, and they're transporting him around in ambulances and stuff.
Yeah, I saw the footage last night.
I did too. Yikes-o-rama.
Hey, couple different things about Ferguson. So, did anybody see that? I just couldn't freaking believe this. Oh, cruise ship infected with norovirus. Yay!
72 people got
Yeah, I see that. Holy crap.
Don't tickety cruises.
Yeah, I crashed out last night. I had planned on doing a storybook with my munchkin and maybe closing my eyes for an hour, because that's always nice on a Sunday. I let her read to me as Mommy listens with her eyes closed.
Falls down to sleep.
And I woke up and it was 5:30 this morning. I'm like, oops, what a nice little nap Mommy had. But yeah, I was going to get up and hit all the news and whatever, so I didn't do that yesterday. But so please forgive me. It was a snowy, cold night.
Yeah, it's good.
And the sheets were all clean and they were flannel because it was snowing now. You know how it is.
It's the best.
Yeah, and Mommy was tired anyway. But what I was going to say is the Ferguson thing, which they're thinking that maybe this week, as early as maybe even today, they're going to come down with a ruling, which is going to be absolutely insane. I went last night to see if I could find a live stream, and it looked like one of the local Fox affiliates had a camera up on their building shooting toward the city. And I don't know if it was just my eyes and the camera or if it was really going on, but to me it almost looked like the entire right-hand side of the whole horizon almost looked like they were red and blue lights flashing everywhere. And I was like, wow, those aren't like police vehicles lined up blocking streets everywhere. I mean, like the entire horizon was just boop, 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 red and blue.
Wow.
I don't know. Is there anyone in St. Louis who could give us some heads or feet on the ground? Because that's pretty crazy. So over the weekend, a story came out. Pigmine posted a video clip, and this is pretty much the only place that I've seen this. I've seen now Anonymous. Nick had a story on Anti-Media about Anonymous threatening the Ku Klux Klan over their comment, but only one news clip did I see this Ku Klux Klan story. But the Klan is coming out threatening the residents of Ferguson that they better stay in line because they've awakened a sleeping giant. And I'm like, wait a second here. So we are like so worried about violence touching off in Ferguson that we got out the National Guard and whatever the hell else, right? And we're like, oh, these people are going to start riots. Yeah, we're letting the Ku Klux Klan open their stupid fucking mouths up and insert themselves into this situation?
Wow, can anybody...
Are you kidding me?
Inflammatory?
Exactly. I mean, if they let this happen, then they wanted this shit to happen.
Yes.
You don't. I don't give a shit what the Ku Klux Klan thinks. Get the fuck out. You know, what do you think you're gonna? Well, honestly, what do you think?
Right.
What kind of a response? Oh, well, we're gonna protect our city. No, you're not. You're gonna make this 1,000 times worse than it already is.
Absolutely.
Why would you insert all those long-time historical scars that are associated with you into this freaking tinderbox? Why? And why would they allow them to do that? And I don't give a shit about anybody's free speech right or whatever. This situation calls for you going standing on a street corner in the next city over opening your mouths, not in the middle of Ferguson.
Like, seriously, like, what are they going to do anyway? Are they going to
just create, they're going to be freaking lighter fluid that somebody pours onto the fire is what they're going to be.
Oh, I understand what they're going to do, but, I mean, what do they think they're going to do? Do they
create this is what they want. What do you think they want?
No.
They want to see lots of people attacked.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but are they going to start shooting people? What are they going to do? That's what I mean.
Well, okay, this is even
They're going to
weirder.
get shot is what's going to happen.
Obama met with Ferguson activists, said he's concerned they stay the course. How about that? When does the president go do something like that?
Stay the course, huh? Really?
And they go, what does that mean? It says President Obama met with Ferguson protest leaders on November 5th, the day after the midterm elections. The meeting was not on his daily schedule. He was concerned that the protesters stay on course. What does that mean?
Kind of like when Eric Holder went there.
Huh?
Kind of like when Eric Holder went there. He was like, meeting protesters and things got worse after he left.
Yeah, but it's curious. What did he mean by stay the course? It doesn't really explain, And he just met with the protest leaders. But it wasn't on a schedule, but it just doesn't make. They want this to just erupt.
Well, there was another report that if this police officer that shot Michael Brown is found innocent, the police chief actually came out and said that he is going to be put immediately back on the force.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which, yep. Again, let's go out of our way to see if we can make this completely inflammatory.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the script, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it looks like martial law.
Mm-hmm. It's probably the desired result.
Well, it has to be. Look at how they're doing. I mean, they are prepping for this like nobody's business. And the KKK, I mean...
I know, I'm trying to find that clip. It was a couple days ago. And no news item, nobody picked up on this. Nobody. I listened all weekend. Nobody talked about the KKK going to Ferguson. And I was like, man, that's like the ace in the hole. Like somebody's like, ha ha ha, wait till you see what we got up our sleeve. And they slipped it in like late Friday evening. The clip came out and nobody caught it. And there only one place that I saw it, one story, that was it. And I'll tell you what, if they show up there, this is going to be like the beginning of some sort of civil fucking race war.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they want.
That is what they want. I just couldn't believe, like, how stupid. I mean, honestly, if they were concerned about Missouri and trying to make sure that things stay under wrap, even the KKK wouldn't have been stupid enough to stick their heads out. They would have just kept their mouths shut and sat there and quietly laughed about it themselves, right? But to insert yourself and to make a public statement that you've awakened a sleeping giant, and then nobody in any type of authority to come out and say anything or say, you know what, guys, like, put a lid on it. Why don't you go down to your headquarters in Tennessee or Louisiana or wherever it is, and, hold a protest down there, but don't get involved in this because people are going to get killed.
Did you see they came out with a new video clip of the cop? This is part of what the grand jury was investigating, was this video, and they came out with it, last night, that it didn't appear, I guess there was video shot shortly after the shooting took place, and it didn't appear that the cop had a black eye or any scratches or bruises or anything on his face, like I guess he had originally claimed, that he looked like he was perfectly fine, he was walking fine and everything. He wasn't injured, is what this video supposedly shows. That sounds like that was like inserted recently as well.
There was another one that I heard that came out either Friday or over the weekend. I don't know if they were actually in session over the weekend, but there was news that was dribbling out in regards to, they had said that there was a struggle that happened in the police car and all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't appear that any of that happened, and then it was untrue.
Right, the autopsy showed he wasn't shot at that.
Well, there were two conflicting autopsy reports as well.
That's true, too, huh? One
the doctor that the parents hired versus the one that was for the city.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. I mean, come on. I mean, isn't a coroner's report, like, not going to conflict with another freaking coroner? I mean, come on.
Right. Unless, of course, it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And which coroner's report is the grand jury going to see?
They got to see both of them, I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a clip.
They better be examining them both, exactly.
I'm having a lot of trouble finding because, you know what? Hey. On Pick My News website, I think. Oh shit! No, I didn't put the Ferguson playlist up here. Hold on, so it's on because everything died down for a while. There is a Ferguson playlist. It was from when the old channel was there, and then when the channel got taken down, I didn't put it back up. But hold on, there is a Ferguson playlist. I am pretty sure on the YouTube channel. Yes, so those stories might be in there. All right. Yeah, we saw the gun sales skyrocketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The National Guard is on standby.
Jeez.
Violence will not be tolerated. Well, there you go. Oh, shit.
After we pump it all up and get you angry enough, but don't you dare respond to what we're trying to build.
Yeah, Al Sharpton with his bullhorn.
Yeah. And then as the KKK says that they're going to come. Hold on. I know where I posted that yesterday. I'm going to have to do some...
You know, if all these so-called leaders were to just, like, not make a big deal about this, the weather, the cold... and their little soap and blah, 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 and incite racial violence. They're all inciting it. It's sick.
You blanked out for most of what you said there.
Did I? Wonder how I did that.
Can you repeat yourself?
Sure. God, I forgot what I said. Damn it! No, I was just saying that if all these so-called leaders were to just not really make such a big deal about it, the cold weather alone would be like enough to deter people from running around out there. But no, they've got to freaking incite everything. They've got to make everything worse. They've got to make everything escalated. So
I don't know. I don't think the cold weather would have stopped anything at this point.
Well,
honestly.
Not that they're... I mean, I'm just saying, if those leaders would have just not made a big deal about it all, but no, they had to find something to make a big deal about, and here it is. So, I mean, they made a big deal about that guy in Florida. Can't remember his name now. Timmerman. They made a big deal about that too.
And with the Small Arms Treaty coming up next month.
Yes.
That's... Well, yeah.
That's up in the air, too. I mean, I still try.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect, I mean, here's the thing. I think it's way bigger than that. You guys are pointing to, like, these events and that they're going to affect, yeah, maybe, but I think this is way bigger than that. I don't think that this is just about gun control, no. I spent the weekend writing stories about school shooters, trainings. I don't know if you saw that one. We're going to look at that in Florida. That was a surprise, and the freaking cop walks in with an AR-15 drawn the classroom. But right before that, the day before, I had done a story about this town in Massachusetts. Well, I don't want to get off here. Now we're getting off the topic. I want to play a clip from. I found that KKK clip. So, Wendy, you got to pull my account in.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, so we're going to take a look, though, at how now DARPA and Raytheon has helped develop this product that this company now spun off from that and created their own company called Shooter Detection Systems. And they have installed their first pilot in a school. And I used to be a part of how this whole situation worked with schools in the state. And what this company did is they donated it for free to the school to install it. They install it and give them all the equipment for free. They get to demo it, and then they use the school or the company or whoever you gave the free equipment to as like your test showcase that then you can bring all future customers to that you want to sell this product to. And they're planning on rolling this out across the country. But this shooter detector system was developed with funding from DARPA by Raytheon. And the entire team just about, I was looking at this new company, if you look at their executive team, they're all from that project at Raytheon. So we are now installing military technology that was developed for Iraq and Afghanistan into our freaking schools, people. So trust me, this is way, way, way bigger. I mean, yeah, the small arms agreement, but like we talked about on Friday, that isn't necessarily going to affect us directly here because it really isn't small arms. But on the other hand, we have Congress never ratifying that, and it's just going on Kerry's signature, which isn't illegal. So there could be some precedent set there. All right, here, we're going to listen to this clip. The Ku Klux Klan threatens protesters in Missouri with lethal force. I think I better put this in a story today. Make sure this gets out there before this all explodes.
Good idea.
But yeah, this should really turn out well, I think. I mean, what? I just can't even believe that they would even allow this. All right, come on. It's Monday. I don't want to have to kick the machine this early.
No baseball batty.
Well, maybe. It might be. It's what it's starting to look like. Here we go.
The white supremacist group, the Ku Klux Klan, has threatened protesters in the U.S. city of Ferguson with, quote, lethal force if the demonstrations there become violent. Members of a Missouri-based branch of the KKK handed out some threatening flyers around St. Louis County on Thursday. A grand jury is about to make a decision on the fatal shooting of unarmed black teenager Michael Brown by white police officer Darren Wilson. The grand jury is hearing the final witnesses. On August 9th, Wilson gunned down 18-year-old Brown, claiming self-defense. The jury will either indict Wilson or acquit him of all criminal charges. Ferguson has been the scene of large demonstrations since the fatal shooting.
And that's it. And they didn't even read. He should have read what the flyer said. Hold on. It says, "You have awakened a sleeping giant. The good people of St. Louis County of all races, colors, and creeds will not tolerate your threats of violence against our police officers, their family, and our communities. We will use lethal force as provided under Missouri law to defend ourselves."
Well, lethal force, that's my question. What are they going to do? Lethal force? Really? Okay, what are you going to do, dude? That's what I want to know. That's my question. They said use lethal? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty...
This.
That's pretty pointed. Like a pointy stick.
That's like poking somebody in the chest while you're talking to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's my whole point by asking, what are they going to do?
By the way, something interesting that I've been noticing over the last week or so is, we talked many times about RT News being financed by the Russian government, right? So even though RT News comes out with like all these great scandals that they uncover and dig into and, all this horrible shit in the U.S. that's going on that we didn't know about, remember, RT always has this agenda on the backside to make us look bad, right? Because it's Russian propaganda.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword. Well, Press TV is Iranian television, and things are really ramping up with Iran right now as Russia agrees to sell them, I think it was 8 more nuclear power plants, right? And we're squawking off, because Iran is part of the axis of evil. So we say, well, their Press TV is Iranian television. So don't believe for a second that any of these third-party news agencies out of these foreign countries that we don't get along well with are putting out stories necessarily to be breaking news. They also have their alter agenda of fueling fires here in this country, right?
Yes.
Putting us at the knees. So the only news station that I've seen to put out a story about the KKK was Press TV, by the way. That's who that was. So interesting, though, that our guys all sat on it and kept their lips zipped.
Right.
Though this probably isn't something that you want to get out there in the mainstream news, but on the other hand, people should know about this. Where's the official response to the KKK opening their mouths? That's what I want to know.
And really, if you're threatening somebody with lethal
force,
where in the hell is the FBI? Because you think that would grab their attention? Somebody else?
Well, right. And as we have martial law and all the what do they call them? The National Guard lining up, this should not be allowed to happen. If they let this happen, if they let those guys show up there, and I don't care about anybody's free rights, this, out of anything I've seen yet, this literally is like someone lit the match and just threw it onto the gasoline.
You're right. Especially if they kill one person.
Well, not even if they... Could you imagine these guys showing up in hoods? Come on!
Right. Exactly.
You look at the historicalness of everything that's happened, and these guys are a bunch of idiot assholes. You want to know my honest opinion? They're idiot, bigoted assholes. Why would you let these people show up in a very tender situation? This cannot happen. And I don't care anybody's thoughts about free Willy. Go to freaking Louisiana and light a cross on someone else's front lawn. I can't stand these guys. I really cannot stand bigoted assholes.
Yeah, me neither.
So no offense out there.
We're all the Nazi skinhead groups.
Well, right.
You know what I mean? Let's just have a free-for-all. Fuck it.
I mean, no offense out there to any of our KKK listeners, which I hope we don't have too many. I'll give you another radio station to go listen to. God. I mean, honestly. What was that?
Not to offend, but...
No, not to offend, but... Yeah, I just, when I saw that just made me, like, tweak off. But I mean, the fact that the whole weekend, it got missed.
Yeah.
It got missed. 30-some people watched it.
Wow.
So apparently nobody finds it important.
Wow.
All right, here. We're gonna find... Oh, shit.
Yeah, Hammy brings up a good point. There's some cops that are in the KKK.
Well, good. Then
That's
it's true.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah, but still. That's where you belong. My favorite
Jules'
song.
favorite song.
Yes.
Doing banjos.
All right, so here, Missouri governor comes out and says, oh, hold on.
Squeal like a pig.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Brings up a good point. There's some cops that are
Hold the phone. This happens every time. Stop. All right. So my lead-in was ruined. Too many things playing at the same time. Where the hell did it go? All right, let's back this up. So the Missouri governor says...
Ferguson, Missouri is waiting anxiously this morning for a grand jury announcement in the Michael Brown case. Jurors will decide if police officer Darren Wilson will face charges for the killing. Jerika Duncan is here with how residents are being warned to stay calm when the decision comes down. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning.
And don't mind the guys in the white hoods.
Yeah.
Gail, the St. Louis County prosecutor said the grand jury is likely to reach its decision sometime in the coming days or weeks. Now, what happened in Ferguson has ushered in a national conversation about police tactics and race, and local officials have made clear they are prepared for any scenario.
Violence will not be tolerated.
Governor Jay Nixon made it clear Tuesday that he will take any steps necessary to protect the people of Missouri.
When we make the determination that the National Guard is necessary to provide support, I'm prepared to issue that order.
He hopes to avoid a repeat of the chaos that erupted in the days and weeks following Michael Brown's August 9th death. Nixon also said multiple law agencies will form a unified front to patrol the streets when the grand jury's decision is announced. One police agency not mentioned in the unified front, the Ferguson Police Department.
I don't want to speak to their future department. That's a local issue that will be dealt with by local officials.
Governor Nixon said more than 1,000 officers have had extended crowd control training. Police in Ferguson drew criticism over the summer for their militarized approach and for using tear gas and rubber bullets on the crowds. St. Louis County Police are prepared for more protests with around $100,000 worth of new riot gear.
We would prefer just to...
Hold on one second. Because this echo sucks. Disconnect. They listed, I hate when they show like a slide in the video and then they don't say what the slide says, so anyone listening doesn't see what it says or hear what it says.
Right.
Here we go. This is all their new riot gear. They got helmets, shields, batons, pepper spray, smoke canisters, rubber bullets, and flexi handcuffs.
Now, what are they going to do if they don't riot?
Well, I think that's probably far from the truth. I think that's going to happen no matter what.
Well, yeah, if they don't, they'll have provocateurs out there to make sure it starts. Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. I don't think there's any way around that. All right, here, let me play the rest of this video.
Riot gear.
We would prefer just to be relaxed as often as we can. We understand that people say that, listen, when you put riot gear on and different things like that, it agitates us. But frankly, we haven't hurt anybody with a riot helmet yet. They're worn on heads.
While the governor and state law enforcement agencies prepare for their response, community leaders met last night to come up with a plan of their own.
The citizens need to lay out our plan, that in spite of our differences from color, creed, or race, that we are united for peace and we're united for justice.
Several school districts have asked the prosecutor's office to make the grand jury announcement fall on a weekend when classes are not in session. Meanwhile, the community is also waiting for the results of a civil rights investigation by the Justice Department. Nora?
All right,
All right, so there you go.
Oh, ACLU.
Can we say any more? Huh?
No, actually, they were saying quite a few times on air, like on the news that I saw, that there's gonna be riots regardless of the outcome. You know what I mean? And they always like the next newscaster will say that, and the next newscaster will say that, and the next one. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what station you're on; they all have the same freaking byline there.
The
same script. So it's pretty much getting staged. They just said.
Well, no, the community leaders the community leader was saying that they were hoping for peace, but all I'm going to say is that this is so amped up at this point, and it's been going on for so long. I mean, since this happened in August, and I don't think that they've really kind of settled down at all since then, by the way.
No, they've been holding protests all along, but they've been peaceful protests.
Right. In anticipation for the grand jury as to whether or not they're going to indict this guy. And I hate to say it, but with all the conflicting evidence, if they find him innocent after the, what do you call it?
Conflicting
the testimony, report. And the coroner reports, and now it's like he wasn't shot in the car, and there wasn't a scuffle, and all this. I mean, I would have to say that there's probably a reasonable doubt at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
A reasonable doubt as to the cop's innocence.
Right. It's not cut and dry, so they have to, they really should put him, charge him and then, go to trial.
Right.
But maybe that's what they don't want. They don't want him to go to trial because all this would come out.
Well, you can't. How can you say that he's innocent? You can't.
Right. So if they come back with they're going to charge him, there's no reason to riot.
Well, yeah, there is. Sure, there's a reason to riot because the police are killing people.
And they lied.
Yeah, they lied. Exactly. So either way, they're setting the stage for it to happen.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I saw that Ben Swan has implanted himself over there. Did you see that?
Oh no, is he really?
Yeah, he's over there. I saw he was doing reporting for RT, no less.
Really?
Oh. Wow, Lee Camp, now Swan for RT.
Well, I don't know if he was actually doing it for RT, but RT had the video yesterday.
Wow.
I know Nick, Anti-Media, had some people that were there at one point, and I'm sure that they're probably going to have some people there tonight. I haven't heard from Nick yet. I dropped him a note over the weekend, but yeah, I think that they'll probably have some live coverage there if they can get it.
And Alex Jones, I'm sure, will be there, too, with his crew.
They've got to kind of have the decision today because, hey, it's a Monday. They've got a whole week's of news worth to waste on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be today.
It's going to be interesting. I'm glad I don't live there.
Yeah. So anyway, what else? A couple other things I wanted to mention. By the way, we have a listener. If you're out there, Sarah, I want to say hello and thank you. We have a listener that found us through some other place, and she used to be a listener of Oracle, and she was hanging out in our chat room, and in conversation, apparently she found out that we were only able to get, I don't even know how many, maybe 3 months or so of Will Roberts' Vocal Local show from the archives before the Oracle archive server was shut down. Anyone who remembers Will's show, Will passed away. I don't know if it was the beginning of this year or the end of last year, but we got permission from Dougie to run his shows and, give him a voice after the grave. But we were running them, but we only had 3 months. We went to go get more and the archive server was gone. Well, Sarah in conversation, somebody found out. She's like, well, I have all the archives. I downloaded them all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so over the last 2 days, she's been uploading them and I've been downloading them. So if you're out there, Sarah, I got everything that you sent me yesterday, but like I said earlier, I did storybook time and then never got up. So I'll be around this afternoon. So we have one more batch of like 2 gigs worth of archives, and I think I might actually give Will, because we were sprinkling him around, I might actually give Will that 2-hour slot that's still available on Sundays after Dr. Simon. I think that would be a great place.
Sweet.
So we'll have Hal running live 2 hours on Sunday, and then we'll have Will running for 2 hours on Sunday as well. And I think that'll round out Sundays pretty nicely.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved his shows.
And we're going to have all of his archives. I mean, there was a massive amount of data. I only can put them up at like 3 months at a time because my automation server is starting to run low. I either need to get another hard drive or go in there and delete a crap load of stuff. But I would rather not. I like to put people into folders, so then at some point, if we ever want to run some rebroads of some, one show in particular in a slot, I have them all up there already, and I can just point to their folder.
That's awesome.
Something else I want to point out, I want to say thank you very much to Lady Pitbull for our most recent donation. That was very nice of you.
Oh, thank you.
Lady.
Thank you.
Anybody wants to help support UCY, let me give you a couple ideas of things that you could do that would help me. One, archives. I got to tell you, Sarah, that was so awesome. I mean, I'm sure if I probably went out and begged and spent the time to dig, I might have been able to find them somewhere, but that's just time is something I don't have. So if somebody who has a collection like that who could send them to me, it's so much easier for me then to just download them and get them set up. Obviously, donations is another way. But remember, there's a couple other things that I'm doing now. We have ads on our website. I'm writing stories now that we're posting over on theantimedia.org. So if you visit my stories, that helps fund UCY.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Pigmynews.com. I set up that whole website, and that helps me with a few pennies if you go out there, too, and catch the videos from there versus YouTube. And all of that, I mean, it's not a lot.
Amazon?
But, oh, yes, Amazon.com. Yes, I have my little Amazon store, or all you got to do is follow that Amazon link if you're going to go buy something on Amazon, and it tosses a few,
four of us
pennies.
that I know about the air purifier, that's got to help a little too.
Oh, that thing is so awesome.
I know. I love mine. We found an air purifier for people who don't know what we're talking about. After digging into the Ebola stuff, we had found that there was an Ebola robot, right, that they're talking about launching in all these hospitals that use UVC to kill all pathogens. And I was like, oh, how cool is that? And then we had Dr. Mercola do an interview with this doctor, and I don't remember his name, that actually was going over. He was invited by the president of Liberia or New Guinea or one of those countries to come train all the doctors there because he had come up with a way to kill Ebola using ozone. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And ozone does clean the air. So in my searches, and I had talked about this, that I had a pen, it's called a Stera pen, that's in my SHTF kit that I found quite a number of years ago that used UVC to kill pathogens in water. And basically it's just a little probe, and you put it down into the water, and you push the button, and the pen launches the UV, and it kills, it's an emergency if you need water and you're going to be drinking out of a ditch or something.
Sure.
Some way to at least make sure that you're not going to catch Giardia or some other horrible
virus.
Internal pathogen. So anyway, I found these air purifiers that had 5 or 6 different ways that they purify the air, that used HEPA, used electrostatic. It also used ozone and UVC, and it was only like $100 and some odd bucks. And I was like, man, and they do 3,000 square feet or 2,500 square feet.
I think
3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is huge. So I thought, hey, you know what? I got cats too. And I have allergies.
Cat hair and all that
It does.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
it
God,
causes.
the smoking too. You can't even tell. Like
No, you can't
15
smell the
minutes after
smoke.
someone's been in there. It happened like the other day. I put that thing on. My friends were over, and 15 minutes after they were gone, it's like you couldn't even smell it.
Yeah. Well, another one of my friends
noticed it right away. They go, "Wow, the air, smells really clean in here." And you've been smoking. I go, "I know, it's this," and now they're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one of my friends actually got one and was smoking in his office the other night, and he's like, "Oh my God, you can't even smell it." So I don't. Mine's upstairs, but I might have to get one for out here because this is the stinky room.
I'm thinking about getting.
Well, now that it's cold, we keep our bedroom doors closed, and my computer's in here, and I'm always in here, so all my company comes in here. And we'll have sometimes 5, 6 people in here. Some of them will be smoking, and that thing still works. Even with a small enclosure like that, it's amazing. Everyone that can afford can get one.
That's cool.
Sleeping with it, and I'm sleeping deeper.
Yeah.
And I have everything on low, low settings, low fan, all that. And I'm sleeping deeper, and I'm not waking up with a snoot full of lint.
Yeah,
that's good.
Don't forget, you can get it through Amazon through UCY.TV.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it helps. It's a few dollars, but I'll tell you what, guys, for a whole bunch of reasons, I think it's the best air purifier I've ever found. I have one in my room that's just a little HEPA filter, and that's great. I mean, I don't let the animals in there, and I keep the door closed all the time, so that room is not contaminated. The one room in the house that is not contaminated, but...
Yeah, well, I have a cat, too, and I've noticed it's great, especially with smokers. I mean, I've never found anything that worked as well as this does.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. You can find them on Amazon if you're interested. I thought I had one.
You see why the pics?
Yeah, I thought I had one in my little store. There, all of a sudden, all my pics are gone.
Oh well, it says right down there. It says Jules pics, and
it's not in there anymore.
I'm looking right at it.
It's on mine.
It is?
I'm looking right at it.
Oh,
you have to push the little buttons to make it.
Yeah, I did. It's not in there. I only have 5 things in there. It's like half the
I'm looking at it right now, and it's right there.
I'll refresh my page.
I don't know. Hold on. I'll let you know in a second. But yeah, below the chat on BTFC, it used to be in there.
Oh, you know what? It went up in price. I wonder if that's because everybody's buying them now.
Oh, no. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, it was $146. Now it's $168.
It was $500 originally.
Yeah, originally.
No, that was their list, and the price was $200. So
it's like $160.
I don't know. You know what? UV. I was pretty excited when I found UV and ozone.
Yeah,
same thing, and it does work really well. Okay, one of the other things I want to find, and yeah, someone brought it up in chat. So let me see if I can open another window because I don't want to lose that KKK story for later. I got to post that, but let's find Nick. I know Nick Burnaby did a story. I saw it last night about Anonymous now stepping up, and I just saw him post something late last night because somebody famous actually picked up that story and tweeted, Immortal Technique.
Oh,
tweeted the story.
He's awesome.
I love Immortal.
Do you?
Yeah, I love his music.
So Nick had posted something on Anti-Media, the Battle of Ferguson 2, Anonymous faces off with the Klan. They have a Twitter hashtag that they've been tweeting, and that's pound op KKK. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
I'm sure that you could find some news if you hit Twitter, the Twitterverse.
I've never used Twitter.
Me neither.
Yeah, I push out there, but I don't use it too often myself. I'm just trying to see. Nope. Okie dokie. So what else do we talk about this morning?
Wow. I don't know.
You guys didn't have any stories that you were following over the weekend?
Not really.
I seen one. I have one here where a drone strikes a woman in a crowded market in Mount Dora. Let's see, I'm bringing it up.
Oh, actually, that's not true. Go ahead. I mean,
it's not true.
It's not true that I didn't follow anything this weekend.
Oh.
I did, actually. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, Zorie. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay, let me bring it up, because if I open more than 2 or 3 pages at once, it crashes my machine. But, okay, here it comes. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more stories like this, too. Drone strikes woman at crowded... Oh, don't do it. Okay. Mount Dora, Florida. A woman at the Remingers Antique and Flea Market in Mount Dora was hit by a drone Saturday afternoon. Lake County Assistant Fire Chief Jack Philman said the woman suffered cuts from the drone spinning propellers, but not too serious of injuries. Philman said a man was flying the drone when the incident occurred about 2 p.m. He said the drone struck the woman in her torso. The woman was taken to the hospital in Waterman in Traverse, Florida. Philman said it's possible that she has already been released. No other details of it. And there's a video there, but I can't play it. So, yeah. And the more and more people that get these drones, the more you're going to start seeing this, because they can fail. And
like we had talked about way back when the United Arab Emirates had decided that they were going to embrace drones freely. And they had the pictures of the quad rotors, and I was like, all right, well, when you combine that with their style of dress, that to me looks like it's going to cause some issues at some point in the future. You know, those flowing robe things that I can never remember what they're called.
Absolutely.
No.
Oh, you mean the men's?
Yeah, the men's.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember either. But so watch out for flying drones near you, because you might get hit.
And there's going to be all kinds of malfunctions. I mean, there's going to be, what about telephone wires? I mean, there's all kinds of crap to take those things out. It's ridiculous.
Well, and especially as we're looking at the small drones with their own artificial intelligence, like I talked about on Thursday, that DARPA had released. Ones that think for themselves.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they can fly in swarms.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
So let's hope we don't get hit by a swarm of drones.
God, man.
No swarms of drones allowed here.
Swarms of AI drones. Oh my God, that think for themselves. Oh my God. Well, I've got something else here. It says, there was a cop charged for, it says Kentucky cops raid teenagers' field party and they kill a girl who tried to escape.
Yeah, and if you watch that video, God.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, man.
But it's right here. It says police charged into a darkened field trying to arrest teenagers for consuming alcohol without government permission and killed a young woman in the process. And apparently the guy is not going to, the cop who killed her is not going to be charged.
Yep. And he jumped on her car and shot her 4 times through the windshield.
Yeah.
If you watch the video, you can see her turning, and he's running alongside her car. I mean, he's even with her as a driver. So he had to have run real fast to jump up on top of the car. She had never at one point had her car aimed at him. Right. And all the witnesses say that he just jumped up on top of the car because she was moving real slow turning, and there was all kinds of witnesses. They all said he jumped on top of the car, pulled his gun, and shot her 4 times. And there were other kids in the car also, and they still said that he was in the right.
Where was this?
In Kentucky. Hebron, Kentucky.
And
she was 19 years old.
Yeah, teenagers out in the woods drinking. How many times have you done that? How many times have I done that?
Yeah, a million times.
And
Oh
when
my
the
God.
kids seen, when the kids seen all the blue and red lights coming, they all got in their cars and started to leave.
Jeez.
And yeah, this was uncalled for. I mean,
Is she dead?
Here,
Yeah,
I'll
she's
want me to
dead.
read it. I'll read it.
Yeah, read it.
It says the deadly raid occurred in the early morning hours of Saturday, April 26, 2014, after witnessing, quote, cars full of juveniles and hearing loud music and people screaming. Boone County Sheriff's Deputy Tyler Brockman radioed for several patrol cars for assistance as it seemed like a large party with underage drinking was going on, according to the official report. Deputies responded in force and attempted to surround the party, which was taking place on a rural road in Hebron, Kentucky.
And not hurting anyone.
No,
Right.
no, not at all. As they were just screaming out in the middle of the woods, "Give me a break!"
Yeah, I've done that lots.
Yeah, I'm sure they all have too. As red and blue lights approached, teens scrambled to escape the government agents. One girl, 19-year-old Samantha Ramsey, got behind the wheel of her 2001 white Subaru along with 3 of her friends. Dashcam video from a police cruiser depicted the moment Miss Ramsey, who worked as a preschool teacher, tried to escape. As her car pulled onto the street, the teen passed Boone County Sheriff's Deputy Tyler Brockman, who can be seen clearly standing to the side of her vehicle on the driver's side. He was shining a flashlight at her and barking orders to stop. Intent on imprisoning the girl for her beverage consumption, Deputy Brockman confronted Miss Ramsey and tried to position himself in the forward trajectory of the vehicle. So in other words, he ran out in front of her car. The vehicle slid just out of view as the deputy closed in on the driver's window. Miss Ramsey had not stopped her vehicle. There is some dispute about events that followed, but the confrontation ended when Deputy Brockman fired 4 shots through the windshield, fatally striking the teen. The shooting itself occurred off camera, but several of the young partygoers filmed reacting hysterically to the bloody encounter, flailing arms and crying. The victim's car ended up in a ditch, and a cloud of smoke billowed forth, along with a passenger who stumbled out and collapsed onto the road. The incident occurred at 2:13 a.m. according to the timestamp on the video. And there's the video included. And the follow-up is Deputy Tyler Brockman will not face any consequences for killing Samantha Ramsey. In November 2014, a grand jury issued him a, quote, no bill and effectively cleared him from legal responsibility of his actions. Brockman claimed that Miss Ramsey tried to run him over and that he was the victim.
And if you watch the video, you can see that he was beside the car and he leaped onto the hood.
Yeah. It says, according to his versions of events, he clung onto the hood of Ms. Ramsey's car in an attempt to enforce the law upon the fleeing suspect. In doing so, he feared for his life and had to open fire with his pistol. The shots were fired not only to save his life, but also the pedestrians walking on the road and the officers currently just down the road, initiating other arrests, the police report stated. Although Deputy Brockman asserted that he had no choice but to kill the girl, it is evident that she would be alive, that she would be alive had the police had not arrived at the party in the first place. Samantha Ramsey's ultimate and timely death was needless. Her life was taken as collateral damage in the government's overbearing control over a beverage. Fatalities like this are guaranteed when the law encourages armed enforcers to interject themselves incessantly into the lives of citizens. There you have it.
Yeah, they found him that it was, and what does that tell all the other policemen? You can kill anyone because there's no accountability.
Yeah, so depending on this Ferguson thing, today, tomorrow, or the next day, I don't know. It's definitely precedent setting, and they keep setting these precedents. And as they keep doing it, the police get conditioned, and the citizens get conditioned, and everybody gets nice and conditioned for what they're going to pull down the road.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, imagine if that was your daughter. The parents must be beside themselves. She didn't do anything. You know, she was socializing with her friends.
Hanging out. I mean, who wasn't drinking beer at that age? I mean,
19,
come on.
You know, in a lot of states you can drink at 18.
Right.
So you can go to war at 18. You can go out and, you know, die for your country at 18. This is just appalling. This is so disgusting.
It used to be that the cops would show up to your little party, break
And
it
say,
up,
"Hey, break
have
it up."
everybody go home, dump all your beer out,
Right.
and then go home. That's how.
Not no more. They come, you know, ready to kill.
Apparently so. Yikes.
Yeah,
Now-
every time I read one of those, it just makes me so disgusted. And, you know, I mean, these are real people they are killing. And when is it going to be someone you love? Yeah, you just, I don't know.
Well, you know what? And they are now working on conditioning our children.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, right, look at them coming into a schoolroom with a gun pulled.
Yeah.
My God.
I couldn't believe it. So here, I get these two stories that I worked on this weekend. The first one is, and again, leave it to Massachusetts. Remember, Massachusetts is where we had the Boston lockdown, if you remember, the door-to-door search with the whole city lockdown. I also saw now that there's a town in Massachusetts that is working on banning the sale of all cigarettes forever.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
We
And
read
people
that.
in the town meetings are getting pretty unruly about it. I mean, what the hell is that?
Wow, I haven't heard the update since I read it last week.
Banning cigarettes.
Yeah.
So now a Massachusetts school, and this was just to the north of Boston, this school district, has installed the shooter detection system. The article is Massachusetts school first in the U.S. to get shooter detector system funded by DARPA developed for the military. Of course, that would get my interest, right?
Yeah.
As the daily fear porn and the cashing in on militarization continues, our schools are not immune. Shooter detection systems, the Massachusetts-based company has installed and just demonstrated this week their Guardian shooter detector system, technology originally developed by DARPA and Raytheon BBN for the battlefield. The system utilizes infrared and acoustical sensors to detect muzzle flashes and alerts authorities within seconds. This is the very first pilot of its kind in the U.S., and they hope to cash in on utilizing fear as their cash cow across the country.
And look, they put war, it's designed for war zones. So we
It
are
is,
at war in
it's-
this country.
Yes, I mentioned that later on. The project name is Boomerang.
Ew. That's gross.
Yeah, it is. The Methuen.
Methuselah.
Yeah, it's Methuen, Methuen, the Methuen School District, just north of Boston, Mass, received this system for free to act as an example and showcase for future installations. Cisco does that a lot, too, where they give school districts free stuff, and then they use them as their test bed as well as their showcase. The system has been adapted from technology, the Boomerang shooter detection system used by the U.S. military in war zones, developed in partnership between Raytheon, where Shooter Detective Systems executive team originated, and DARPA. According to Time.com, they had a story about this. Authorities fired tester blanks Tuesday in the Methuen, Massachusetts school, which authorities did not name for security reasons, to demonstrate the Guardian active shooter detection system, which alerts police of gunfire within 1 second, according to Reuters. Police officers and Democratic Congressman Nikki Songus attended the demonstration, but students were not present as schools were closed for Veterans Day. The technology boasts near zero false alerts, was developed by Massachusetts-based shooter detection systems in partnership with the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, a U.S. government military technology development arm. The company also worked with major defense contractor that has developed thousands of similar gunshot detection systems in war zones. And, I mean, notice how time kind of just glossies over that. I actually dug into who they were and who the executive team was and how they funded. I mean, if you click on that Boomerang shooter detection system link, it actually tells you that it was Raytheon who had all kinds of financing from DARPA to develop this thing.
Okay, so it was. I was thinking maybe that was the school that cop entered with his gun pull, but it wasn't. It was a different school.
No, this is a story I did Friday, and then the gun pulled was a story on Saturday that happened Friday afternoon. So talk about, like, following it right on the heels. This is what I'm saying. This is coming fast. It's going to hit us in the face. You wait and see. So, all right, here we got a clip, though, I want to play that I embedded here for that the guy talks about the shooter detection system. DARPA developed this thing. Oh, shit, hold on.
Okay, so it was. I was thinking maybe that was the school that cop entered with his gun pull.
I don't know how that keeps turning on, because it wasn't supposed to be. Hold on. So, I killed that. Back it up. Back it up, Chuck. Here we go.
Wait. The source of the shots is identified by the Guardian Active Shooter Detection System, and police go in. The technology, which uses infrared and acoustic sensors to detect muzzle flashes, has been adapted from a system used by the U.S. military in war zones. And after a spate of deadly mass shootings, including the 2012 massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School, it's now being demonstrated and marketed to schools across the country.
I'm going to pause for a second because Sandy Hook is kind of what motivated all of this stuff. But remember, we just had the shooting up in Washington as well. That was the most recent one, and that was the prom king. So one of the things that I talk about in the next story is just how they've kind of spun this now to where terrorists can be anywhere, including in our schools. The kid sitting next to you who is prom king and valedictorian, right? All self-radicalized, by the way.
Right. And I wonder how many children will get killed because when cops show up with their guns pulled, innocents die.
Well, that's what worries me. Is, after we've seen shooting after shooting after shooting, and now we're having these drills with cops showing up in schools with guns drawn. Hello. Remember I told you guys when I took that class in 2006, one of the things that they told us about is that the terrorists are going to hit us where it hurts and they're going to come after our schools.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was 06. So, all right, let me play a little more of this.
Shooter Detection Systems President and CEO Christian Connors says the goal is to speed up the police response time.
As the FBI report that just came out recently mentioned, it can take up to 18 minutes or 12 to 18 minutes for the police to be able to arrive. If you look at the interviews of the children who have been involved with these incidents, a lot of times they ask, I thought it was a book dropped. I thought it was a car backfiring. I thought someone had hit a piece of metal on a locker. So they don't call the police right away.
Some may question the use of war technology in schools, but Judy Scannell of the Methuen Public School System near Boston says it's a necessary evil.
It's a sad statement. I'm the first to say that. But again, the world has changed, and we have to think outside the box. And again, it's all about protecting the students and staff.
Oh, yeah.
And putting military technology into our schools, okay?
Mm-hmm. Make them all prisoners.
Well, not only that, but, as this orgy of earnings from the military-industrial complex escalates and continues, hey, school districts are an untapped market.
That's right.
Remember, so was biotechnology and big pharma, and that's why we had to have, pandemics. And the last one didn't work, so Ebola had to ramp up. Now we got all this DARPA money flowing, and I read about this I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday, but we can actually go back to that and take a look at the easy money that's coming from DARPA now. And all you need is 2 written freaking pages to get $700,000 to start your research.
Yeah, because we were talking about, wow, I could write 2 pages and get that kind of money.
Yeah, they're just the money is flowing for the military-industrial complex. Absolutely. All right, last little bit of this.
Go for it.
The system comes with a hefty price tag, though, for a school of Methuen size between $50,000 and $100,000.
Wow.
Although Connor says that's a small price to pay for student safety.
And isn't that how we sell it?
That's right.
Oh, but you know what? $100,000, but it's going to keep your kids safe as the taxpayers are ching, giving the school district more money, and is this really going to prevent? I mean, it's not like, why aren't there I don't know anything about this school or their security or anything, but here's my first line of defense. Put some card readers on the doors with cameras. How's that? Mm-hmm. And have someone man the door at all times. That's all. Have people that are pre-approved. I don't know. I mean, a lot of schools, even back, I don't think they had it when I was still in high school, but shortly thereafter they had metal detectors at the doors. I don't necessarily think a metal detector is too invasive.
No, they've got them all over Detroit.
With Sandy Hook, didn't the lady there let him enter the school even?
Yeah. They let him in, supposedly.
So, but they're bringing the war zone to our kids, and that is so wrong. And the way cops get away with anything, they can go in and just, gun went off accidentally, and there's 3 kids dead. I don't agree with this.
My question is, what's next? Are they going to have armed autonomous patrolling the hallways of the schools next? I mean, how far are you going to go? I mean, come on.
How many schools have you seen where they have police there and the police are abusing the kids?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
Where the one kid, she dropped her cake on the floor and she didn't pick it up fast enough for this cop, and he threw her on the table. And there are cases, if you go to Police State USA, of where the police are actually the bullies in the schools.
Well, they have private, security officers that they hire usually, not cops.
No, they have cops in a lot of the schools. We have them in the schools here. There's a patrol car, and there's one police officer that works the school all day.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. But
yeah, well, we have one here.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. But,
So on the tail of this, I wanted to read this other story. So you asked, where's this going to lead? Well, one day later.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, that was on Tuesday. This one was on Friday. Surprise Florida school shooter drill with AR-15 drawn angers parents and traumatizes students. As you'd imagine, some cop burst into the room with an AR-15, and they didn't let them know there was going to be a drill.
Right. Another one of them.
Yeah, I did 2 stories this weekend. That was the first one. And first school in the USA to get the shooter detection system. And then, we have a live drill unannounced with guns drawn in Florida.
Now, how's that going to traumatize these kids?
Well, think about it. Actually, I did some research into fear conditioning for this. And fear conditioning leaves you with traumatizing scars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what creates the fear conditioning, right? And that's what they're doing to our kids.
It is.
All right, here, I want to read this. On the heels of the military-developed active shooter detection system installed and piloted in a Massachusetts school this past week by Shooter Detection Systems, it seems that the march toward utilizing militarized incursions to instill fear in our children is just beginning. In a recent ABC News clip, they lay out the reality of fear conditioning in schools today. Quote, I just couldn't believe this quote. This is how they started it out. Lockdown drills in school are now almost as common as fire drills. The kids were ordered to huddle in a corner preparing for that nightmare scenario, unquote. I mean, what? When I heard that, I was like, if they started traumatizing my kid with active shooter drills, I think that would be the end. Absolutely the end that day for public school.
And look how they want them to all huddle in one little corner.
Huddle in a corner, hearing the
easy
absolute worst.
pickings for a shooter.
At the Jewett Middle Academy in Florida, police burst into a classroom with an AR-15 drawn as part of an unannounced shooter drill at the school this past week. School officials seemed to think that the element of surprise was important, but the kids witnessing the scene unfold didn't seem to think so, as many of them, terrified, messaged their parents as the incident was occurring. I mean, as you would imagine, they would be. Wow. All right, now, here we go.
Was he dressed as a police officer or as a regular person, does it say?
Actually, we're going to look at the video. I think he was, I don't know if he had an outfit on, but they had like black hoods on, like black riot gear helmets.
Wow. Yeah.
And guns. So hold on. Here we
go.
Tonight
where parents are outraged after police entered a middle school without warning with what looked like guns drawn. Students, some texting their parents for help. They were terrified. But what they found out next has many angry tonight. It was a drill. Here's ABC's David Wright.
Lockdown drills in schools are now almost as common as fire drills.
This is a drill we need to lock down.
The kids ordered to huddle in a corner, preparing for that nightmare scenario.
It's kind of scary, huh?
Kind of, yeah.
It's usually made clear to the kids it's only a drill. But not at this Florida middle school yesterday, when police with AR-15 rifles like this one burst into classrooms. Children and teachers believed they were really under attack.
We actually thought someone was going to come in here and kill us.
7th grader Lauren Marino frantically texted her mom.
I'm panicking because I'm thinking that it's, a legitimate shooter's coming.
Sharice Tate's son was terrified too. His dad started racing to the school.
It makes me upset. My husband almost got a ticket coming over here yesterday. He was doing 130.
But there was no school shooting. This was all just a drill. Today, the school apologized to parents.
Any drills that are conducted from this point forward will be without firearms being displayed.
But school...
How nice is that?
We're sorry.
And, I read another story further down the weekend. I think it was yesterday, actually, out of one of the UK papers, that those guns were loaded per police policy. Because their sidearms are loaded. I don't know. It didn't say if the ARs were loaded, but their sidearms most certainly were.
Yeah. Wow.
They're in that school with loaded firearms.
I put that parent driving 130 miles an hour to get there. What if he caused a wreck and someone died? Now, who's at fault there?
Or what if he died?
Yeah.
Right. And
they didn't even let the parents know. I mean, you would think that they'd let administrators and parents know. Maybe don't let the kids know, but still, it's going to traumatize the kids.
It's conditioning.
Well, exactly. And if you watch this now, as all this stuff is ramping up everywhere, we needed to make certain that we got any of the people who were doubting the police state right in the lower belly with a double 1-2 fist punch.
Yeah.
But it's all for the children.
It's for the children.
And here's the thing now, too. Why in the hell would they tell them to go cower and huddle in one little group? In a corner somewhere or in a little bathroom or a closet. I mean,
they're easy pickings, right?
Easy pickings. Now, we did an actor-shooter school scenario in my self-defense class. And what my instructor was saying is that the most logical thing to do would be to, everybody scatter and start chucking books and whatever the hell. If a few people get popped, okay, but chuck anything you can get your hands on at the shooter and distract him. And then people, you know what I mean? That's how they should.
And then someone bum rush him, right?
Yes, someone bum rush him. And somebody
desk at him, anything, but
pencils. I don't give a crap. Your book, your anything, your desk, anything. But everybody has to scatter to the four directions, and everybody chucks stuff at the same time. There's, disorient them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's logical.
Well, in the one class that I took for tactical, we actually did a simulated school hostage situation. Where they had the building set up and you had to go sweep. And what they taught us for is the school was on lockdown and your kid was in there, and I was a pissed off parent going in to clean the building out. They had us going in there looking for bad guys.
There's another thing too. I mean, that's the concerned parent. I mean, they make good commandos on the spot if your child is.
And what happens if something like that happens? If a parent says, I mean, like that dad at 130 miles an hour, and the dude is bringing his gun with him, he's going to go pop the guy that's holding his kid hostage. Right. And you know what? He's probably going to get himself killed.
Right.
Yeah, because he would be rushing into the school with a gun to protect his child, and they'd kill him.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I could see that happening easily.
And they would be found innocent because.
Yet it was a drill.
Because he had a gun.
Yep. All right, here, I'm going to play the very end of this.
Officials insist the element of surprise is important, noting, unfortunately, no one gets an advance notice of real-life emergencies.
It's very...
Do you hear that shit? Oh, yeah, element of surprise. We got to scare the shit out of your kids because, you know, in real life, that's how it happens.
Right.
Justification.
That's horrible. All right, last bit.
Scary. You know, you hear all this horrible stuff on the news, and then you think it might be happening at your child's school.
She outlined that perfectly. Did you hear that? You hear all this horrible stuff on the news, and then you think it might be happening at your school. So submit to the police state because we will keep you safe.
The question is, how best to prepare kids without scaring the life out of them? David Wright, ABC News, Denver.
So there you go.
Total psyops, man. Psychological operation.
So the very end of this story, hold on, let me, unless, I don't know, there was another clip that was kind of about this, but it actually goes into what it's like inside of a school shooting drill. I don't know if we want to look at that one. Do we want to harp on this, or do we want to continue?
Sure, I want to hear what they have to say about being stuck inside.
All right. Here we go. One more clip.
How do you train students and teachers to prepare for a school shooter? Well, often by pretending there actually is one. These drills may help, but the drama can be intense, even if it's all an act. And it's not just the kids who say they're scared. Here's ABC's David Wright.
I want to stop for one more second, and then I'm going to I'll keep my mouth shut for this clip. Notice how on the heels of them installing this military developed system in Massachusetts, which was just days before this, all of a sudden now this unannounced shooter drill becomes headline news, and we're doing multiple stories on it, right?
Yeah.
On headline news now to tell people about it. I am going to guarantee you we're going to see a lot more of this in the very near future.
Yep.
This is the next step. And there's a lot of things. I mean, when you're looking at Ferguson, you're looking at riots. We're looking at now all these people buying guns. Did you also see, we're going to talk about Buffalo, the first step of the SAFE Act. This was listed in SAFE Act. City of Buffalo is starting to take guns from deceased individuals, which was part of the SAFE Act. After you've died, there's no longer you're no longer allowed to pass guns down to family members. They are going to be confiscated. Oh, yes. So we'll look at that, too. All right, here. So that's all I'm going to say. Just notice how all of a sudden this now is going to start getting press, and I will guarantee we're probably going to see another school shooting.
Yep.
We're going to see lots more drills. So, okay, I'm going to be quiet now. Zip.
I'm going to kill everybody! Nobody's getting out of here! It's every parent's worst nightmare, an active shooter on campus. Threatening to kill innocent kids. In this case, just a drill, but a terrifyingly realistic drill. And that's now an issue. How do you strike a balance between preparing kids and scaring the pants off them? It may be just a drill, but the trauma is real. Outside Tampa, Florida yesterday, parents and students say Jewett Middle School got it wrong. The school there held a drill without warning in which police officers showed up on campus, weapons drawn.
Our principal had announced that we were going to have a lockdown.
7th grader Lauren Marino and her siblings frantically texted their mom. Police came in with guns, and I'm kind of scared.
We actually thought someone was going to come in here and kill us.
Their mom was scared, too.
Well, I'm panicking because I'm thinking that it's, a legitimate shooter's coming.
Xavier Tate was scared too. His dad raced to the school, unaware it was only a drill.
My husband almost got a ticket coming over here yesterday. He was doing 130.
The school has now apologized to the parents, and the local police chief now says officers won't use weapons in future drills, but the school will continue to hold unannounced lockdowns. The fact is, ever since Columbine 15 years ago, the U.S. has had more than 160 active shooter incidents. That's about one a month. And as we saw in Sandy Hook, even the youngest kids aren't safe. So in school districts across the country, lockdown drills are now as common as fire drills. Some go as far as covering students in fake blood and recruiting volunteers to play dead in the hallways, all in an effort to make the drills more realistic.
Attention, this is a drill. We need to lock down.
A modern version of duck and cover.
Please go behind my desk.
The teacher locks the door, pulls down the shade. Everyone's told to keep quiet.
It's kind of scary, huh?
The kids huddle quietly under the teacher's desk.
Do you know why they do this drill? Do you worry that this scares students?
We do, but we practice enough that we hope that students are as staff is, getting used to the idea. We have to.
How long do these go on for?
5 minutes, I think, is maybe the longest we've ever had.
The teacher in one classroom we visited in Colorado fully supports these drills. Holly Carpenter is a graduate of Columbine High School.
When you look at those kids, are you always thinking somebody could come and take away their lives like that?
No. When I look at those kids, I think how great they are. I think how lucky I am to teach them. And I think about, I wonder what they're going to be like when they grow up.
That day changed her life. It's why she eventually went into teaching, and it's why she takes these drills very personally.
I always get the lump in my throat because it's not about the flashbacks of Columbine or any of that for me. It is about the thought, see, I'm getting it now. It's about the thought of anyone even wanting to hurt the kids.
The charter school where she teaches, Skyview Academy, does the basic lockdown drill most Colorado schools do.
What? Nobody's getting up!
And just last week, the teachers got a new kind of training.
So, how did you feel?
Yeah, way more empowered and lots of adrenaline.
Jody Don is a former SWAT team member who responded to 2 active shootings in Colorado.
If you see a gun like this, open, what does that mean?
He's teaching them how to recognize when the shooter is reloading his gun.
He's out, right?
And teaching them defense tactics.
Oh, there you go. Good.
How and when to pounce.
Cowboy approach? Sure. But it may save a life?
At Skyview Academy, they're trying out the new active shooter training for teachers only. It's held at night, no students involved. In the gym, Joe D. Don and his trainers are teaching the teachers how to take down a shooter. The atmosphere? Boisterous would be an understatement.
Now that's good. That part.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I lied. I'm going to butt in. But that's exactly what I was going to say. This is what you were talking about, Lady Pitbull. And they showed at the very beginning, one of the things they were teaching the teachers is to be standing, waiting with stuff to throw at the guy when the door opens.
Yeah, now that makes sense.
And when he's distracted, attack him.
Exactly. And that's what we were practicing in class.
Right, and that's absolutely. They should be looking at stuff like this first and foremost before installing military. I just can't even believe that it's DARPA tech that they're going to start putting in schools. Because, I mean, we've covered DARPA ad nauseum on this show, and we know how evil DARPA is and all the things they have their tentacles into. All you need is one tentacle to wiggle its way into a school, and, I mean, all else follows.
That's right. That's exactly right, Jules. That's why this is so on the cusp of, like, we're going to lose this country forever.
We are. DARPA in our schools, people. Do you understand that?
Right.
I mean, that's horrifying to me. When I flipped over that. That's why I put everything aside and I did a story. I was like, shh, everyone be quiet. Go upstairs. I got to do this because it's DARPA. You know, when I worked for the reseller that I worked for many years, and I can't say the name of his product, but my coworker, actually, he was the guy that was part of the original Captain Crunch group that hacked the telephone network in the early 70s. I talked about him before. My buddy, he developed a system that was for doing safety in schools, and it basically was one touch button on the phone, and that's what it did. It had just like that shooter detection system, and actually when I saw them demo the product, I would almost think he's got copyrights on his safety system, and it's been around for 20 years. I would almost think that he would have a copyright infringement against them, because the way that they showed with the blueprints and going boop, 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 and it's showing exactly where the alert was hit is exactly how his program worked on a big display, and everyone gets alerted. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. And that was 20 years ago he developed this. But
maybe they bought it from him.
I don't know. Maybe. We do defense. They do defense contracting, but yeah, I'd say more like stole it. Or maybe he sold it. Who knows? But it was very, very, very similar to that, but it wasn't for shooters. It was for anything. You know, it was like a panic button in the classroom.
Right.
On the phone. And every classroom had a phone. There was I don't know if it was an actual law, but I know that there were lots of statutes out there. They had to have for emergencies. I mean, let's say a kid has an epileptic seizure or something. You know what I mean? You had to have some
cuts itself open or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to have some form of communication in the room. Or what if you have a kid that goes like crazy or something? But it was just a silent alert type thing, like you would have under the counter at a store if you're getting robbed, or at a bank, you know?
Well, that makes sense. That's not too invasive.
No, it's just an alert, you know, to let someone know that there's something bad going on in the room.
Yeah.
But what was my point in that?
Instead of like having,
Well, you push this button within, it says it alerts the cops within seconds, and they show up with guns drawn, you know? I mean, that isn't necessarily the first response that you want. And this is actually detecting gunshots, though, right? Muzzle flashes.
And heat signatures, yeah.
Right. And the next thing's going to be doing iris scans and
yes, it's going to
DNA samples.
Yes,
we
see where it's going.
Once the cops get there, innocent people seem to die if they get there during the incident.
Well, this is the prison industrial complex. Is what
right,
this is.
And they are conditioning these kids to step in a line. You know, I was like, wow, what a Pavlovian response as the announcement comes on. This is a shooter drill. You know, and the second that happens, the kids all huddle under a desk. I mean, look at that. That is a trained response.
It is, and it's like learned helplessness.
Yes,
it's like in the Cold War, we all had drills where we had to get under our desk, and
so did we. Absolutely, the bombs were coming. Actually, they had us just go out to the hall and put our head against the wall with our arm over the top of our eyes.
Yeah, like that's really going to protect you.
From a nuke, right.
Like many comedians have said, you get under your desk that's made of wood. You know?
Right, like that's going to help any. And, you know, I really wonder if that isn't why, because of those drills back in the 70s about us, potentially getting nuked by Russia, if that isn't why I am so absolutely adamantly against nuclear shit.
Could
you know what I mean? Like, I have this red button. And I wonder if it's from the trauma, being a kid, with them always talking about us getting nuked by Russia.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. Same weird, deep-seated fear. Same thing.
Look at mine.
We're the same age.
My fear of needles is because of school and them giving shots in school and standing in line and just having the fear build and build and build. I'm still living with that fear. So
yeah, and I told you, Zorie, they're starting that again. We've been getting the robocalls from the school. We put a note in the backpack of your kids, and we're going to start giving flu shots and whatever. Make sure you sign it. I told my kid, I said, if they put you in a line, you make sure that someone calls me, which, of course, you know that that's not going to happen. Right. But they better be afraid of me if that does happen without my permission.
Yeah.
Because I will be, like, the one that they'll be calling the...
I can't believe they're doing that in schools again.
The attack team. No, I can't either. My husband was horrified when I made him listen to the message. All right, here, we're going to play the rest of this clip. So they, in Colorado schools, they actually started training teachers self-defense, which is a great thing.
And there's some schools that the teachers are now carrying guns, too.
Yes,
I can't
actually.
remember which ones. Yeah.
Yeah, down in some of the more gun-friendly states.
Yeah.
All right, here.
The teachers, including Holly Carpenter, are loving it.
You think in real life you could do it? Or it doesn't matter?
But not all teachers support the staging of active shooter drills at schools. Last month, a pre-K teacher from Virginia wrote an op-ed that quickly went viral. She writes, "We are rounding up and silencing a generation of school children and terrifying those who care for them. It's time to stop rehearsing our deaths and start screaming." Of course, the pretend gunman we saw isn't really fighting back. I asked Joe D. Don about that.
But is the 100-pound teacher or student really going to be able to take down the 200-pound gunman?
Let's try it out. You just saw what happened to me. Did you guys see what happened to me?
But he wasn't exactly fighting back.
Right. Let's get Joe over here in a minute. He's about 220. You pick anybody out in this crowd and we'll see what happens. You want to do that?
Let's do it. All right. So we got Holly Carpenter in her Columbine sweatshirt to do it again.
I want you to do it again. But this time the guy's going to fight back a little bit. Okay?
This time, the gunman resisting her efforts to disarm him.
Oh, she's kicking the shit out of this guy.
Do you hear that? How exciting that makes kids feel?
It's the teachers.
Yeah, it's all teachers.
She got it.
Now that's what should be happening, to empower the teachers to protect.
And
exactly.
The students as well. Give them the tools necessary to defend themselves. Hello.
Well, right, like get them into a karate class or something, or a taekwondo.
Or even little things like they're doing for the teachers here, to use whatever is at hand to protect yourself.
Right. Instead of, I mean, honestly, if you look at the diametrically opposed difference here between the first clip that we listened to, where they told them all to huddle and hide, right, and be afraid, and the cop comes in and he's like, "You're gonna all die," versus this showing them that, someone comes in and threatens you. Hey, you know what? I don't teach my kid to fight, but I'll tell you what. If your life is in danger, you better help be responsible for protecting your own life.
That's right.
Don't go over and huddle in a corner and be terrified. It's your life. Defend it.
Right. All right, let's play the very last list. So, yes, these are all teachers that are screaming and cheering. But listen to how excited they are. And you know what?
Yeah.
That cop, I'll drop you guys this article with these 2 videos in it when we're done. But that cop that they brought in, the 220-pound guy, he really fought back. And she just, in the beginning, she's kind of wussy. And then she went for it, man. She's kicking him in the head.
Yeah.
It was great, man.
Yeah.
All right, here.
How did that feel?
Really good.
Jody Don also encourages the teachers to enlist their students to help.
You're saying enlist the football team, enlist the kids.
Yeah, enlist the
so
kids.
So they're asking a lot of people to be heroes who don't have the training or who aren't even necessarily adults.
You bet. They don't have the training because we're not preparing them. When they come to this program, we're giving them a little bit of firearm knowledge.
The question is, does this really protect people, or does it put them in greater danger?
I would imagine there are a lot of law enforcement types who would say, look, don't be a hero.
We're not advocating the teacher to go out in the hall and go on a suicide mission. What we're advocating is, here's some knowledge, here's a little better option for you. We are talking at that split second when they know that they've done everything they could prior to making that choice, whether it's evacuating, barricading, fortifying their location, to where that's no longer working, and I've got 5 seconds to figure out if I'm going to try to do something to save myself or my kids.
If you're staring down the barrel of a gun, act really high.
Right, exactly.
For one final exercise, the teachers do their normal duck and cover drill and see how their sitting ducks. Then, everyone gets something to throw. In this case, a tennis ball, but in real life, it might well be a hole punch, or a desk chair, or a dictionary. This time, when the active shooter comes in, he suddenly finds he's the sitting duck. Would it work like this if the bullets were real, or if this were a class full of kids, not teachers? Hard to really know. To a kid, a scene like this could feel terrifyingly real and leave behind a lasting impression, but one that might save a life when it matters most. I'm David Wright for Nightline in Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
I agree. Empower the kids.
Yeah.
Don't make them feel like little chickens.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I have to say, that's probably one of the best videos I've seen on this yet, because they really did show both sides.
Yeah.
And when they showed the teachers cowering, and they were showing to them how you're just sitting ducks. And I think the guy that was the instructor on this, he definitely does not necessarily agree with what we are being told by law enforcement, which is, don't get involved and be
Don't
sitting
be a
ducks.
hero.
Yeah, don't be a hero. That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that video says it all. That was perfect, Jules. What a great freaking succession of videos. Pop, pop.
Get rid of DARPA and empower the teachers and the kids to let them know that they don't have to be a sitting duck.
And they don't have to be a victim. I mean, this
Right.
goes beyond shooting. How about getting jumped on the street? How about getting picked on by a bully? You know what I mean? Like, don't
Right, it
be a
empowers
victim.
them. It makes them feel strong and not like cowardly.
And just
And this
because there's like these little cameras that DARPA came up with is going to give the cops like earlier warning, that's not going to do anything. What's going to happen is those first few split seconds when the shit first goes down, that's when you got to act. Not
Exactly.
like, you know what I mean?
Right, because shots fired, he could already be in the classroom popping people.
By the time the cops get there, I don't care if they're next door. It's going to take them, a few minutes to rally around. You know what I mean? Still.
Well, at Sandy Hook, when that was going on, I have all of the radio transmissions of the cops on their way. And most of them, what cop doesn't know how to get to the school? They were asking for directions how to get to the school.
I don't remember that, but...
No, I have, you can get it. I have all the radio transmissions that went on between the police and the person that talks to the police, and it was amazing how many cops didn't know how to get to that school.
Wow.
And so that impedes it. But this empowers the kids. I don't see one parent that would argue this.
It instills confidence is
Yes.
what it does. When
don't
you
want
feel
that.
like you can protect yourself even minimally, or if you know what to do to get yourself out of danger. I mean, that's one of the big pushes, having a child. That was one, my mother was always kind of, I don't know, questioning my reasoning behind making certain that I didn't shield my child from all the ugliness, I mean, she might not have the whole story, but she's got a good overview that things aren't like unicorns and rainbows, okay?
Right.
You can't make kids think that.
Real world.
Right. There's a real world out there, and every day that child steps out the door, she could be affected without me being there. You know what I mean? So she needs to have, or what if some big disaster happened and I got killed? You know what I mean? So now your kid's going to be helpless, crying, and I mean, it still could happen, but they would have no clue whatsoever even what danger was.
Right.
You know,
I believe a parent's job is to make your child dependent, independent of themselves, and not always relying on you, so they can face the real world.
Well, that's your hope, right? Toward the end, is that they're going to be independent. But the sad fact of the matter is that the world now is so much wackier, I think, than it used to be. That even as a child, I mean, you want to still have a childhood, but you need to be aware. You cannot be full innocent.
Right, nobody can protect their child from the world, and that's you're putting your child at a great disadvantage when you do that.
Well, right, and I mean, like teaching stranger danger, right?
Sure.
In the very beginning, that's like the first time that you really got to kind of show your kids that the world isn't a pretty place. They want to trust smiling people handing them gifts.
How many of us were always told, don't take candy from strangers?
Right, don't get into a strange car.
Right.
So, all right, anyway, my very last paragraph of the story. In a world where mainstream media parrots stories of gun-toting, internet self-radicalized domestic terrorist lone wolf teens gone bad, the stage is now set for full steam ahead, enforcing fear into our children's hearts, police state into their faces, and more profits into the pockets of our leaders invested in the military-industrial complex, marching from the battlefield into our schools. Dun, dun, dun.
Wow, that's great. I love that.
I was on fire this weekend. I was like, you bastards!
That is a great article, Jules. You outdid yourself.
Yeah, not many people even read it, but screw them.
Damn, that was...
Give me the link. I'm passing it out.
I just dropped it in chat.
Okay.
Yay. It's on the antimedia.org. I put these stories under Pigmine News because I put his... I post his videos in there, but... I usually write the stories. Which is fine with me because I really didn't want my name on it.
I know.
You know, it depends on what I'm writing on today, wink.
But it's good. I mean, that whole thing is awesome, and it includes the videos. So
yeah, I embed those videos in there. Well, you know, and that's usually where when I see something, when I'm scrolling through the day's news, and I start watching something, especially if it starts making my face get hot. I know that is one of the ones I copy. You know? Yeah, so I start rocking. That means I copy and paste the URL into a text document and save it for later because that's probably going to be a story I do today.
Fantastic. Way to go. Good work, dude.
Oh, thanks. So, where do we go next? Do we take a look at like some of the crazy shit? I don't know if I could really know enough right at the moment to get into detail, but a couple of things I've been watching that happened. I heard Tarpley talked about it on his newest show that aired, not the one that airs at noon. That's the last week show, noon on Saturday, but the show that airs on Saturday night at 6, or I think he's also on, I have him on at noon now on Sunday. That's the new show of the week, and he had actually mentioned this, but Tarpley's the only one that I've heard besides a Pigmine clip. The U.S. has now decided, and I think I played this clip maybe Thursday or Friday. Hold on, I can find it quick. The U.S., who did not have a strategy on ISIS, and remember, this is all related to what we're looking at right now with these schools and the shooters and terrorists, because my very last sentence in that story laid it all out. Gun-toting, internet, self-radicalized, domestic terrorist, lone wolf, teens gone bad. Okay? How many stories have we looked at where we have Department of Homeland Security, lone wolves in this country fighting for ISIS? Oh, we have the teenagers in Missouri or Minneapolis or wherever they were that have decided they're going to become ISIS brides, right? And they're going to go over there. Oh, the ones down in Texas that had plane tickets to get on a plane and fly to Syria to start fighting with ISIS. I mean, and they've used the internet to do this. You know, these kids that go off the deep end in these school shootings, they were reading things on the internet. Okay, so they've already been setting this all up. They've been trying to intermingle radicalism with domestic terrorism, with international terrorism, okay? Yeah. Be afraid, be all afraid. And this most recent one in Washington, the kid was the prom king. Okay, so it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be the quiet kid in the corner, which we've heard many clips, giving profiles of what these domestic terrorists and lone wolves would be. They'd be your quiet neighbor who doesn't bother anyone, or the kid that always sits in the corner and, is antisocial. Well, that shooting in Washington changed that paradigm to now it could be the most popular kid. Wasn't he on the football team?
Yeah, he was prom king. He was on the football.
Valedictorian. Mm-hmm. Could be anybody. So they've amped this up to the point now where you're suspicious of everyone, and that's what they wanted. So now let's start amping it up so we have shooters and we have, threats that are incoming, and then let's get the military involved, right?
Yeah, lone wolves, you never know.
So as we're weaving this tale that the mainstream is weaving to us intermingle now the whole ISIS story. So the U.S., and we've talked about this so many times, I don't want to start from the beginning, but it has been well established that the CIA is responsible for ISIS. Correct? Am I wrong in that?
Absolutely correct.
Okay, we gave them guns. We radicalized them. We beat the shit out of them in prisons. We let them free. We shoot them into Turkey and Jordan. We gave them training. We handed them weapons that came in from Libya. And then we said, go fight, moderate rebels. Which don't exist, right?
Yeah, which don't exist.
And then they end up in Iraq as we pull out and there's a power vacuum and they start taking all the fields, the oil fields, and then we drop in troops, which we weren't dropping in troops, right? We were just dropping in advisors, and then we got boots on the ground, and then we find out, oh shit, they're all in Syria. We still don't have a plan. Well, doesn't Obama come out on... It must have been like Thursday or Friday, and he's all of a sudden got a strategy. Now, if you remember back a few years ago, and oh, look at only 7 people even cared enough to hear this. But this was a huge deal, so I guess this is going to have to be the other story I do today. When this first all started, we saw... how this whole strategy was aligning with Brzezinski's grand chessboard, right? And Brandon Turbeville has talked about this many, many times, and he's written stories, he's done shows about it, how there's the 7 countries, right? We had General Clark, I believe. I've played that clip many times in the afternoon. It airs, I think, before Stokes' show, about the grand plan, right? To go in and take out all these Middle Eastern countries, one after the other, destabilize the chessboard. And this is part of the march toward the New World Order. Get the International Monetary Fund into all of them. Bomb the shit out of them. Let Halliburton rebuild them all. It's just an orgy of money for everybody. Death and destruction, and it's all wonderful. And hey, more than half our Congress are now millionaires. It's worked very well for them.
That's right.
So, as they have been working on this destabilization, there were lots of calls a few years ago, and Brandon was one of the primary voices in the middle of all that, along with Tony Cartalucci and Webster Tarpley. They were the 3 voices going, hey, don't you guys get it? Hey, when we're running in there and we're saying that Assad is gassing his own people, do you remember that?
Yes. Yep.
And it was proven that it was these rebels that were trained by us and sent in there that was actually causing all the trouble. So the alternative media had taken some credit for when Putin stepped in, do you remember, and said, hey, we don't need to go invade and mess with Assad or anything like that. Why don't we broker an agreement here to do an international team? We'll get rid of all these chemical weapons that, by the way, we actually saw a couple stories that those chemical weapons came out of some facility that they cooked up in Iraq that now on the backside they're trying to say was Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction program, right? We heard that last week in a clip, right? Where they never found anything, and all of a sudden there's this big weapons lab that's cooking up chlorine gas up there, right?
Oh my God, what a load of crap.
Oh, this is a load of crap. And now I just saw that they were using it on Iraqis too.
Oh, figures.
So anyway, any of these chemical weapons that were in Syria, right, we were a part of that. We got them offshore. We were decommissioning them on one of our warships offshore at one of the islands, and I don't remember what the island was. But the U.S. never stopped. And the march through Syria was to get to Iran, right? And we were thwarted. The federal government was thwarted in their plan set out by the grand chessboard. And so what's the next thing that happens? Well, so Putin got in the middle of all this. Oh, well, the Ukraine thing. Look at how there was all kinds of unrest, and it was the West in there with contracts fighting the East as Putin was meeting with, I don't know if he was a president or prime minister of Ukraine, you remember, and he inked a deal with the East. Remember when Ukraine first touched off, there were all these protests. Some of the Ukrainians wanted to go with the West. Some wanted to go with the East.
Right.
They inked a deal with Putin. He had all kinds of money. And we went in there, and including John McCain, boots on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they started inciting riots. Well, Ukraine now, I don't remember Pigmine gave me a number the other day of how many people are dead now in Ukraine, and it's a big number. It's in the thousands.
Yeah.
Since this all started. And so what's going on now? We now have a new ISIS strategy out of the blue as there are tanks now supposedly rolling into Ukraine. Putin is leaving the G20 early. Did you see that in Australia?
Yeah, I totally saw that. Right.
There's all kinds of military drills going on, and they are saying that there are aircraft with potential nuclear capability that have been deployed. We are being buzzed. Did you see there are supposedly Russian sorties happening over the Gulf of Mexico right now?
Oh my God!
Are we seeing any of this? Because this is all being covered up right now. This is not.
Wherever we go, innocent people die, and that's what gets me about it.
Well, do you know why all this is happening in Ukraine? Because we have now come and we just had Russia sell 8 more nuclear facilities to Iran. Now remember, the U.S. is shitting their pants because now, after they started all the trouble in Ukraine, we now have Russia strong-arming it because they're not going to put up with this bullshit anymore.
That's right.
We have Russia stepping in and selling nuclear material to Iran, who's on the other side of Syria, and that's the next one in line when Syria goes down. We have the U.S. with boots on the ground in Iraq, which, I mean, even from the very beginning, the whole Iraq number 1 and number 2, and this is number 3, by the way, were all based upon fabricated bullshit, right? Yep. So now, and the G20, we had sanctions against Russia. And so Putin was actually prohibited from joining the G20 for the last meeting that they had. They just had this big meeting in China, this economic APAC thing.
Yep.
And I saw Australia just struck some big deal with Z over in China. But in the G20 then, that happened right after that, which was down in Australia. So we had this meeting up in China, and then the G20 down in Australia. You know, Russia's already been in with China. They're trading between each other without the U.S. petrodollar.
Oh, yeah.
Iran as well. Remember that. Iran as well. Libya went down because they didn't want the U.S. petrodollar or the IMF, right? So we had to take them out. That's what this is all about. So where do we come back around again? Oh, right as all this is happening, the U.S. comes up with a new strategy against ISIS. And we knew that this whole ISIS thing and needing to have boots on the ground and get them into Iraq was all about Syria. The Syrian rebels that we armed and we trained that then became ISIS now has become a thorn in our side and an easy way to start bombing Syria without any type of international cooperation. Now, they tried to. Remember that, Zorie? They said that we were going to have like 20 nations or whatever, and we counted like 3. I think the UK signed on with them. There really wasn't too much else. All right, so here comes finally the U.S. strategy on ISIS. Oh, damn it. I hate when I do that. I get the whole lead up and then I didn't connect. All right, here we go.
So President Obama was slammed for saying he didn't have a strategy yet for Syria. Now the president seeking to review a plan for Syria, including the eventual removal of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The president and his advisors coming to the realization you are not going to defeat ISIS without a plan to get rid of Assad, who the U.S. and many of the allies see as the reason ISIS has been able to gain strength in the country. It's really an admission. The initial strategy to confront ISIS in Iraq first and then take on Syria was a major miscalculation. In just the past week, the National Security Team has met 4 times, including one meeting chaired by the President Wolf, to discuss how the Syria strategy will fit into the overall strategy of combating ISIS.
So how are the
I need to stop there. Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, oh yeah. Sounds like
what a mistake we made. Oh, we went into Iraq first. Oh, it's ISIS in Syria that's causing all the problem, and it means that Assad's got to go.
Yeah, sounds like what they did to Saddam. Sounds like what they did to
Gaddafi. Here's the thing. They've been trying to do this for the last 3 years.
Right.
And they got thwarted every time. And just as we had suspected, this whole ISIS fucking cook-up that we created has become now the reason why we got to get our asses in there and get rid of Assad. Well, how do you think Putin is feeling about that right now after he stopped this already once?
Yeah.
Well, that's why all this is going on now in the Ukraine. And we got all the troops lining up. And we got, nuclear-capable planes. And we got Iraq. We got Russia now buzzing the Gulf Coast. And we got them selling nuclear material to Iran. Because now Russia's saying, F you, because we knew you were going to do this.
Right.
Well, between the Ukraine and Iran, that pretty much encompasses the whole region of Iraq and Syria, doesn't it? From around the outside.
Certainly does.
Guys, I'm telling you, there is some bad shit on the horizon.
That's not a freaking accident.
Oh, it isn't. And notice though, there are only, and we're going to run out of time here, but there were a couple stories with prominent political figures. And I'm trying to remember who it was. It wasn't Henry Kissinger, but it was somebody like that, like coming out going, oh, World War III is about to touch off.
Yeah, it was, Gorbachev said something too.
Oh, Gorby! Yes!
Yeah, it was, yes.
It was Gorby because we just had the 25th anniversary of the wall coming down.
That's right.
In Berlin.
Yeah.
If you remember that. All right, here, I'm going to play. We got one more minute that we can play this, so let me play a little bit more of this.
Allies, the coalition partners, if you will, reacting to this new emerging strategy.
Well, Wolf, many of the president's advisors, Secretary Kerry's Defense Secretary Hagel recently, we understand, have been calling for a more robust strategy in Syria. And when Secretary Kerry and General John Allen, who's the envoy to the global coalition, travel across the globe, they're talking with the allies. Some are saying, listen, the strategy to defeat ISIS only works if there's a more coherent plan for Syria's future. Secretary Kerry intensifying talks with allies. Arab diplomats tell CNN Kerry, Allen, and others have been pushing for a political roadmap, ultimately transitioning Assad from power. The U.S. went after ISIS in Iraq, first hoping that it would give the U.S. time to vet, train, and arm a moderate rebel force who would then go after ISIS, eventually Assad's regime. But officials now...
All right, that's enough of this crap.
So sick of it. I mean, how many freaking times have they got to whip out the same damn playbook?
And it is the same damn playbook. And the sad fact of the matter is that all the people who lived in Syria, there have been so many massacred and displaced, and it's a humanitarian disaster right now. We decided to give $3 billion to climate change, yet we have people dying and homeless and starving. All right, guys, I guess we're going to have to continue this one tomorrow. Believe it or not, we got only 25 seconds left.
Wow, that went fast.
It did go fast. All right, ladies, well, thanks for hanging out Monday morning. It is still snowing here. Everybody make sure you stick around. We have Hale Anthony up next with his Behind the Woodshed. Mr. John Stokes, Mr. Jack Blood up this afternoon. Unlock the Door with Michael Cross. That actually was a great show. That runs on Rebroad tonight at 7. Here it goes! And this week's Truth on the Tracks with Brandon Turberville. The new United Front Against Austerity with Danielle and Kyle. And then live Antimedia Radio with Nick Burnaby and team. And maybe they'll be in Ferguson tonight. All right, guys. Everyone have a happy Monday. And we will catch up with you tomorrow.
Thanks.